So constant, we get some constant which is less than 10x. So if we notice that the maximum value of 10x can be, so the minimum value of x can be 1 0 0 0 0 and n zeros. So when we multiply it by 10, so minimum value of x can be greater than equal to 1 and the number has n plus 1 digits, so n zeros. And so 10x would be greater than or equal to, so we can write this as 10 raised to n. So 10x would be greater than equal to 10 raised to n plus 1. This was the constant which I was talking about. So 10x is greater than equal to 10 raised to n plus 1, which in turn is greater than 9 raised to n plus 1, and which further would be greater than px, equal to px. And this is clearly, of course, true because 10 is greater than 9, so the power will also be greater than. So thus we have proved our lemma, which is that product of digits is less than 10 times the number. Now we can use this lemma. So we are given in the question that x product of digits is x square minus 10x minus 22. So x square minus 10x minus 22 would be less than 10x. So we'll take all the variables on one side. So we'll get that x square minus 20x minus 22 is negative less than 0. So for the sake of contradiction, we'll take x to be greater than 22 so that this would be greater than 0. So it would lead to contradiction. So if x greater than equal to 22, then we'll get x minus 20 to be greater than equal to 2 and x square minus 20x greater than 44, 44 minus 22, 28. So this our whole expression would be x square minus 10x minus 20x minus 22 would be greater than equal to 22, and thus it is a contradiction for x greater than equal to 22. So x can be unit digit, it can be of the form 1a or it can be 20, 21. So if we'll put 20 and 21, check for 20 and 21, then we'll get 400 minus 200, 200, 200 minus 22, 178, and the product of digits has to be 0. It's a contradiction. Now if you will check for 21, then you will get it to be 441 minus 210, 231, 231 minus 22, 209. So this is again a contradiction. So x can either be a unit digit or it has to be of the form 1a. So x can be 10 plus a unit digit. So if x is unit digit, then the product of digits is equal to x itself. To 0, and this equation will have no uh, real roots, sorry, integral roots, and comment down the discriminant of this equation. So let's move on in the second case, which is x is equal to 1a form. So the product of digits is a, which is equal to x minus 10. One, for example, 11, we will have product of digits 1, and it is equal to 1 is equal to 11 minus 10. So the product of digits, the a is equal to x minus 10. We'll have, so basically we have the product of digits to be px is equal to x minus 10. So x square minus 10x minus 22, we have to be equal to x minus 10. So let's take a variable, constant, and form a quadratic. X square minus 11x minus 12 equal to 0. And now if you factor this, you will get x minus 12 into x plus 1, and the one root is negative, which is x equal to minus 1. which is a contradiction because x is a natural number. So x is equal to 12 is our only solution. Now let's move on to some difficult Diophantine equations other than miscellaneous equations, which require some elegant way to solve and not just bounding, which cannot be solved by bounding. So the 12th question, show that sigma I factorial cannot be a perfect power. So sigma I factorial. So let me go through this. It's a very monstrous thing right here. I know you're getting scared from this. So what it is basically is that 1 factorial plus 2 factorial dot 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 something k factorial is equal to a perfect power. So we need to find, it should be a find when this is a perfect power, a raised to n, and n is greater than equal to 2. So perfect square, perfect cube, and so on. So let's experiment and first find the values of this expression when according to k's values. So if k is 1, then we'll get the value to be 1. K is 2, we'll get 1 factorial plus 2 factorial equal to 3, we'll get. And if it is 3, then we'll get 9. It is 4, then we'll get add 24, so we'll get 33. After that, you will get 153, adding 120. 6 factorial 720 will add, we'll get 873. We'll add 4320, then we'll get 5193, and so on. And if you'll notice that the last digit from 33 onwards, it is 3 only. But if it has to be a perfect square, sigma I factorial has to be a perfect square, then either the perfect square, if you'll notice that they have either 1, 4, 9, 6, 5 as their unit digits. And we can also prove this by using mod 10. So what this means that a perfect square should have its last unit digit to be 1 or 4 or 9 or 6 or 5. But in our case, this is all constantly after 33, the unit digit is always appearing to be 3. So this means we have a contradiction. So we just need to prove that for after 33, it is equal to 3 mod 10. So how will we prove it? If you got it, then very good. So basically after 33, 33 is 3 mod 10. And after that, 5 factorial is divisible by 10. 5 into 2, it has its factors. So 120 is divisible by 10, 720, because they are 6 factorial, 7 factorial, which all are divisible by factorial, and 5 factorial itself is divisible by 10. So what we are doing is at each step we will add multiples of 5, multiples of 10. So the remainder on division by mod 10 k factorial sigma k factorial mod 10 would always be 3, and thus it cannot be a perfect square. So this means that n is not equal to 2. So this means that n has to be greater than equal to 3. Now we did this. So now let's check some more. Let's think of some good modular contradiction. Here we did mod 10 modular contradiction. Now we need to do this for a perfect power. So if you'll notice, so first experiment, let's experiment if there are any perfect powers in this. If you'll see that if you factor this, then you will get 3 into 291. And I think 291 is, you'll get it to be 3 square into 97. And so this is not a perfect power because 97 is not a perfect power. So it is not a perfect square. And I think it is of course not a perfect. And 153 is also not. Similarly, 5193 you can check. It will not be. It will. You can check the factor. You can factor this. Then you will get 1731 3 square into 571 you will get. So this also does not appear to be a perfect power. So what we are noticing is that after 33 there are no perfect powers appearing. So this gives us an intuition that there is a modular contradiction out there. So let's check. So if we work in mod 4, so 1 plus 3, 4, this is divided by 4, and 4k plus 1. So after that, all the numbers appearing are congruent to 1 mod 4. So this means that 1 and q square can be 1 mod 4. Perfect power can be 1 mod 4. So there is no there is nothing wrong about it. So and for 5 we already did, which is mod 10, and 6 is not a prime, so it's not better. Let's check it. 6 will also not do any good to us. Let's check 7. 7 we will have 1, 3, 4, 13, 44, 2, 6, 8. So we are working out the mod, the because after 7 factorial we get it all the others to be divisible by 7. So what we are doing is we are working out the remainder of sigma k factorial division by 7 to see if there's anything wrong. So 1, 3, 4, 13. Oh, sorry, 33, 153, 873 are already calculated the sum. So 153 it is 6 mod 7, and after that we get this is 120, this is 6 mod 7, and this is sorry, after 6 factorial, after sigma 6 factorial we get it to be 873, which is 5 mod 7. It's 5 mod 7, and after that all the numbers will be divisible by 7. 7 factorial will be divisible by 7, 8 factorial will be divisible by 7. So each time we'll add multiples of 7. Thus we'll get uh, sigma k factorial congruent to 5 mod 7. Now let's check if it is true that it can be 5 mod 7. So we know that a cube is congruent to 1 comma 0 comma 6 mod 7. So this is not true. Now let's check. And we know that we have already proved that uh, that a raised to n cannot be a perfect square. So a raised to 4 is not true. So let's not check it. Now let's check if it is true for a raised to 5. 7k plus 2 raised to 5 32. 7k plus 3. Yes. So for a is equal to 3 mod 7, we are getting a raised to 5 to be 5 mod 7. So the gut feeling that we were getting that 7 is correct, which is wrong. Now let's check another number. Let's check 9. So for k greater than equal to 9, after 9 factorial, we get all the numbers to be divisible by 27. And for 1 factorial, dot plus 8 factorial, we'll calculate the remainder on mod 7. So there is a remainder mod 27. So 1, so we have calculated till 6 factorial, 7 factorial, 5193 we got. Now let's add 8 factorial in it, 40320. 40320, let's check the remainder on a division by 27. 13, 5, 135, 117. So to 19, it is the remainder 19, you can check it. And 5193 has a remainder 4936. So it is 9. 40320 13320 and we'll get minus 180. So this is minus 180 mod 27, and if we'll check it, then this would be 9 mod 27. So 40320 is 9 mod 27, and sigma 7 factorial is 5193 we calculated, and this is minus 207 mod 27, which is in turn 9 mod 27. So 9 plus 9 will get 18 mod 27. So we got that sigma 1 dot 8 factorial, this Ri is equal to 18 mod 27. And after that 9 factorial is divisible by 27. So all numbers greater than 9 would be divisible by 27. Would be 18 mod 27. Sigma k factorial for k greater than equal to 9. So sigma k factorial is equal to 18 mod 27. And now this is a clear contradiction. And why? How? Because a raised to n would be congruent to 18 mod 27 for k greater than equal to 9. And notice that this 27k plus 18. So this means that 9 divides 3 divides a raised to n. Now if a is congruent to 1 mod 3, then a raised to n would be congruent to 1 mod 3. And if a is congruent to minus 1 mod 3, then it would be either 1 or 1 or minus 1 mod 3. So this means that a has to be divisible by 3. And we have already proved that n equal to 2 is not possible. So n has to be greater than equal to 3. And we know that a has to be divisible by 3. So we'll use here the p-adic argument, which is that v3 of a is greater than equal to 1. So v3 of a raised to n is equal to n into v3 of a. v3 of a greater than equal to n, and n is greater than equal to 3. So what this means that v3 of a raised to n is greater than 3. So this means that 27 divides a raised to n. But we have calculated that a raised to n is congruent to 18 mod 27. So this is a contradiction because we are getting a raised to n equal to 0 mod 27. So this means that for n greater than equal to 3, we have a contradiction, and for n equal to 2, we already did a contradiction. And these all contradictions are for all numbers greater than, for k greater than equal to 9. So you can check it for 1 factorial to sigma, 1 factorial, sigma 2 factorial. You can check all the values for sigma 8 factorial. They will all not be perfect powers. So we have proved that the only perfect can only be perfect power when k is equal to 3, and which is 3 squared. So I hope you enjoyed the video and learned how to approach problems by using bounding and factoring and using modular contradictions. So thank you for watching the video.